I am almost positive you've felt this way, but have you ever sat and thought, trying to create content, like, what the heck do I post? You sit down to write the content and you're staring at the blank screen. Maybe you go to chat, maybe you go to Claude, maybe you do both, all trying to figure out, like, what the heck should I be talking about? If that's you, it's not actually a content problem. Okay. I know, crazy thought. But I think it's actually you've lost touch with your mission and your Mercury Gate. That's what we're talking about in this episode. Welcome back to Human Design for Business. So glad that you're here. I am Rachel and I'm the creator of Athena AI, which helps coaches and experts use human design to build a message that is impossible to ignore, impossible to copy because it's built around who you actually are. And every week in this series, I'm taking a one piece, one aspect of human design and asking deeper questions, not just like so I can know myself better, but how do we actually use this in our business? Because knowing your chart is fun, right? Knowing how to make decisions. And when someone reads your chart, they're like, gosh, how do you know me so well? That's cool and all, but how do we actually use it to grow our businesses? And that's what we're talking about in this series. So glad that you're here. Mercury Gate is fascinating to me because I've read hundreds of charts at this point and studying my own Mercury Gates. I've listened to what other people talk about. They're like, oh, it's communication, da, 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 and just communicate in that way. And I think we need to go deeper than that. Mercury Gate is the mission, the energy behind your message that you are showing up in. It's not necessarily specific words that you're going to be saying. It's more the energy that you're showing up in. And I'm going to show you and break it all down in this episode because it's so helpful to understand and have an anchor, especially when you're creating content. Because if you feel like your content is inconsistent all over the place, you feel like you're getting pulled into this trend and that trend and whatever, it's because you haven't actually anchored in your message, the thing that only you can say. It's sort of like your unique selling point, but it's even deeper than that. And it's honestly, it's not even something when you come up with your mission statement for your business, it's not necessarily something you're going to say all the time or blast it on your social media or on your website or anything like that. It like gets woven in. It's something that just becomes the ethos of your business. And it's not your niche. It's not your offer. It's so much deeper than that. It is your mission, the thing that you came here to say. Everything else gets built around that with Mercury. I talk a lot about this, and Athena actually really helps you do this. She helps, like, if you just told Athena, hey, I know my Mercury Gate is this whatever, can you help me create the mission statement? We do that inside of Athena AI. But when I'm with clients, we're looking at two things with your Mercury Gate. We're looking at the lower frequency and the higher frequency because every gate in human design has a spectrum of frequency. It has a lower shadow frequency. This is where gene keys can be helpful if you're into gene keys. Gene keys is a deeper in-depth look at all 64 gates and shows you like the lower expression, how that's really showing up, and then all the way up to the gift in the city. Human design is a little bit more, is I would say a little bit, if the word, it's vague. It's vague. When you look at a definition of a gate on for it, just the human design piece of it, so much less information versus going into gene keys and it's in depth into the shadow and the gift and the city. This spectrum, right, of frequency. So it can be helpful to say, go to Google or chat or wherever you get your information, which you do need to be careful where you're getting your information. I digress. It's saying the gene keys, gate 17 or whatever, because then it'll give you a more in-depth look at the gate. I am going to give you some examples of different gates, but obviously if I went through all 64 gates, we'd be here forever. And I homeschool my kids. We have a trip coming up. Like I don't have time. Not in this episode, maybe someday. But for right now, I'm going to just give you a few examples. You can start to understand how we use this energy, how we use this gate in messaging, and you can go off and do it yourself or jump into Athena AI and she'll help you with it. Okay, so with the lower frequency, I want you to be really mindful of what that frequency is and how it's going to show up, right? And I'm going to give you some examples. Because if you are in that lower frequency, so again, I'll give you examples. If you're in that lower frequency, though, content's going to feel challenging. It's going to feel performative. It's going to feel like something's not quite right because you're in that shadow of the Mercury Gate. I know when I first started with human design and all the things, my Mercury Gate is 12, and the shadow is pushing. It's showing up when you don't feel emotionally ready. It's an emotional gate, and it would feel like my tongue was tied. I couldn't speak because I was trying to force myself to talk about something that I wasn't ready to talk about. I had to understand that there's always something I can talk about, but not to try and force an idea or force a concept that I just wasn't ready to share. So, understanding that lower frequency, then looking at the higher frequency, that is how we want to show up. That's the energy behind our mission and what we're here to say. That's the frequency I want you showing up in. So for gate 12, it's being trusting the timing on things. It means that I'm probably going to batch content and not necessarily, I leave things open to inspiration all the time, but batching content really has helped. It's helped me stay in my creative zone without feeling this pressure that like, shit, I haven't posted, I need to post. And then I'm just creating something like out of thin air and I'm like, "Oh, I don't know what to talk about." Da, da, da. Versus kind of having a little bit of structure, a little bit of this is my creative time. I protect that time and I know what I want to share, how I want to share it, and it just flows more naturally and I can stay in that higher frequency. Okay, so I'm going to break down a couple more gates to help you see how we use Mercury, but feel free to drop your Mercury in the comments. I love talking all about all this kind of stuff. So bring on the comments. We'll break it down, okay? Gate 11. I love this gate. It's the gate of ideas, right? If you have gate 11 as your Mercury gate, the lower frequency of gate 11 is being overwhelmed with ideas. Like you have so many ideas, you don't know where to start. You're just like freaking out, balls to the wall, like just chaos is how I describe the lower frequency of this. The higher frequency, though, is like planting seeds of ideas, opening people's minds to inspiration, helping them see a future that they hadn't considered before. Being so much, the gate of ideas, there's so many ideas. Not all of them are meant for you. Some of them will likely be meant for your clients. Especially if you have gate 11 in your Mercury, you are going to be sharing ideas with your audience. You're going to be sharing and planting these seeds of inspiration, giving them different ideas of what is possible. So, thinking about your mission, depending on what you do, how can you weave in the ideas and the inspiration and planting those seeds for people? Usually, when I explain like the higher frequency of someone's Mercury gate to them, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm doing that already in my content. Amazing, beautiful, like double down on that. Okay. That's the energy that I want you showing up in more and really weaving into all aspects of your offer messaging, your USP, your content, your emails, all of it, just like you would a personality trait, like I'm a little bit sassy. Sort of the same thing. You're weaving it in. It's not something that you're sitting here going, okay, how can I inspire people or how can I plant a seed? But it's woven in. Okay. A content prompt for Gate 11, if that's your gate, is what's one possibility your audience hasn't considered yet? I want you to think about that. Like, ooh, what kind of content could you create around that? All right. Gate 17 is the gate of opinions. And the lower frequency for the gate of 17 is turning everything into a battle. Like you have to be right. You're constantly telling people this is the way to do it and they have to agree with you or you get upset. Like that's the lower frequency, having an opinion and being like, I'm the one that's right. Versus I have an opinion on this. What if we da da da? Like there's not a need to be right in the opinion. It's a detachment. It's like a fresh perspective on things. Like what if we did this? Or have we considered this, right? And it's not necessarily doing it to be right. It's doing it to open other people's mind, like kind of like the ideas. It's the same concept, but you're changing the way people think about something. You want them leaving feeling like I've never thought about it like that before. And it's not that they immediately have to come to your side of the argument. It's more like, oh, I've never thought about it like that. I feel like, shoot, I thought of this as example and now I can't think of his name. He was, frick, why my brain just completely went And I had such a great example. Okay, here's an example, a different example. Martin Luther King Jr., I think, was an amazing at this, at getting people to think about things differently, think about civil rights differently, think about how they approached other people and if they were different. He got us thinking, and he didn't do it from a place of like, I am right. It was just simply, this is another way to think about this. And he allowed the other person to kind of make up their own mind, but planted seeds of possibility and a different way to look at this. Does that make sense? Like, that's what you're doing with Gate 17. Okay. A prompt for Gate 17 is, what's a pattern everyone else is missing? Gate 62, details. This is another one that's, I feel like, kind of fun. They're all fun in their own way, but Gate 62 loves details, like so detail orientated. The shadow, though, is over explaining, information dumping, trying to prove how much you know. You have so much like obsessing around the details, right? Versus the gift being, it's making these complex things really simple, beautifully simple, even like leaving people feeling like, finally, I get it. I understand, right? You understand some complex things and you're simplifying it for them so that they go, oh, well, that's so simple. I get it now. So thinking about with your messaging, how can you take big concepts and simplifying them down to something that makes sense for your person? Okay. So I think of people that talk about quantum physics and neuroscience and all of these like big, heavy topics, and they're able to break it down into something that is really simple. And Gate 62 goes really well with a line 1. So if your profile is also a line 1, I can guarantee you that you're love sharing deep concepts, but making it simple for people and being able to apply it to their life. A prompt for you is, what's something your clients always overcomplicate that you can explain really easily? Last one, let's talk about Gate 56, the storyteller. Again, if you have Gate 56, you are a natural storyteller. You probably know this, but I want you to again, double down like this, you are a storyteller. Okay. This gate is reminding people that it's not about information. It's not. It's not information. If you're trying to write content from a like, here's more information or here's a how to, you're probably bored out of your mind, number one. And two, it's probably not landing the way that you want it with people. It is story. It is story through everything. So it's the stories that you remember. It's the stories that you want people to learn something from. But the lower frequency, though, is rambling, talking just to talk, not really sharing stories with purpose, or it's not sharing stories at all. Like you're afraid to share the stories. You don't know, you don't think you're a good storyteller, whatever. Versus being in that higher frequency of sharing stories that help people see things differently, help them learn something, help them understand themselves better, like all of that. Emotionally connected stories. So a prompt for you is, what story you've told 100 times and can I speak? What's a story you've told 100 times because it's still changing people? Like, what's a story you've told over and over and over because every time you tell it, everybody's like, God, this so good. I connect with it so much. Okay. The bigger question that I want to leave you with this episode is, I want you to think about the content that has done really well versus the content that hasn't. And what do you think was different about the two? Like maybe you've had a carousel or a reel or something that like kind of popped a little bit more. I'm not saying that it had to go viral, but I'm saying it just got twice as many views. Maybe it got 400 views instead of 200 views. Or a few more comments than no comments or whatever. Or the like bigger extreme, like it did go viral versus only getting a couple thousand views. My point is that piece of content did better than typical, even just a little. What was different about it? Did it have anything to do with the way that you naturally want to show up, your Mercury Gate? Can like go ask your AI, ask Athena, what is that higher expression of your Mercury Gate? And did your content weave in some of that? Because I guarantee you it did in some way without you even knowing it. That's what I want. I don't want this Mercury Gate to be like, I'm overthinking it where you're like, okay, I have to weave in my Mercury Gate with every beat. No, this is something that you naturally do when you're not overthinking, when you're not trying to do a hook or strategy or something. Like, I have to make it do whatever. No, you are literally showing up and sharing and being yourself. You naturally do this on your own. That's your Mercury Gate. And I'm almost positive you do it on, and it's probably the content that did well. I would love to know, like, if you go back and you figure out if it, like, drop in the comments, like, let me know if it was or not too. I'm really curious. Okay. That's Mercury Gate in a nutshell. Again, like, it's one of those aspects of your human design that takes a little bit to unpack, a little bit of inquiry, a little bit of understanding the low frequency and the high frequency. But once you do, it's something that you can show up naturally with, create your mission around, know that you are the only one that can show up with that energy, with the like that essence in your content. Okay. Thank you for being here. So excited. If you want more information on Athena AI, she's open. She's open to founding members, so go check her out.
Your voice is the portal, not the plan, not the template, not the trend. When you say it like you mean